Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel introduction video for Classical Singing Made Simple. Hello, my name is Maddie Hendricks, and I am a blind, classically trained soprano. I love singing all kinds of classical music. My favorite is opera. My biggest goal is to be a professional opera singer, educating the general public on this beautiful art form. And so I thought, why not create a YouTube channel devoted to doing just that? So for those that know me, I have a performance channel that's the username is @MaddieHendricksSoprano, and it's completely devoted to my singing. But I've been thinking over the years about how I can kind of stand out and how I can make my career accessible to all. And I thought, why not create a YouTube channel and share my journey with you all? So I would love for this channel to show a little behind the scenes of my work and my career, and I'll talk more about my intentions for the channel later, but basically I want to share my love of classical singing in an educational, informative way, whether it's choral music or oratorio, art song, and opera. You may not be familiar with all of those types of genres, but you will be if you keep watching. So keep watching. It's very fun. So yes, so I hope that you'll tune in and enjoy my content. I did want to just give a little bit of an introduction to me, in case you guys don't know who I am. Hello, my name is Maddie Hendricks, and my journey to becoming an opera singer, to finding my voice, took a lot of hard work. It started in high school choir around 2013, 2014, that school year. I actually started out singing. I've always loved to sing. I sang in church a lot. I even remember, on my mom's side of the family, some of them did music and voice, and I remember taking lessons from my grandmother at probably 8 or 9 years old, and oh my gosh, I just thought it was, I was just an 9-year-old, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to, play around and just sing. But it was fun to take voice lessons, and then I took voice lessons because I started singing popular music in probably middle school around this time, and I started being really interested in pop music, like most of my friends in high school were. But as an elective at school, I joined choir, and I started to really enjoy it. I was taking voice lessons at the time, but one of the differences in choir was that I was learning a lot about my voice as an instrument, and it was really interesting to me. And a lot of my friends in school did pop music and show choir, singing and dancing, more commercial music, musical theater, stuff like that. But I was in the more traditional women's and concert choir, and I really enjoyed, again, as I said, learning about my voice and developing my technique. It was very new and interesting to me to learn about my voice as an instrument. I remember initially being worried about the style that we sang in, that it would affect my voice as a country singer, as a country music singer. But this did not happen. In fact, the opposite happened. I started to learn breathing exercises, and I started really growing my vocal range, and found warm-up exercises that I could do. And I found that I could sing in my upper register with ease and was comfy as a soprano 1. That is a choral term, so stay tuned for all of those tidbits a little later. So when we talk about singing, sometimes we get into semantics like high notes. Well, what is a high note? Like, oh, a high note can be something that you belt, or a high note can be something that you sing in your head voice, in your head register. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, my Martina McBride and Carrie Underwood songs, those are high notes. But then when I got into choir and sang soprano, I was like, oh, this is a different kind of high. Wow, this is so interesting. So the classical soprano stratosphere was something that I'd never really explored before, and it was exciting to me. It was really fun to explore up there. I remember in one of our pieces, there was this gorgeous solo. It was a sacred choral piece, and there was this beautiful choral writing to it, but then it also had this beautiful opportunity for two soprano soloists, and I remember it was stunning, and it just changed everything for me. I remember I auditioned for it, having no idea like how to really sing and how to really navigate my voice. But I auditioned, and I remember not getting it. However, having said that, I remember just being taken from that day on with that kind of singing and that kind of soprano one, as I knew it at the time, the stratosphere up there. And I was so interested, and so my choir teacher and I talked, and we said, this is what classical singing is. And I was like, okay, I want to explore this more. And I remember going into my senior year of high school and wanting to switch from classical to pop music. And the other thing about that is that I was planning to audition for college and university, and what I found out at the time was that when you go to university to study voice and study music, many singers there are classically trained, and it's not for everyone. I always say that it's not for everyone, and is that right? Is it, can we change that paradigm? Some schools are doing more pop and musical theater, and I think that's awesome too. But for me, I was very interested in totally switching over to classical singing, and so that's what I did. So I ended up switching over, and I remember my senior year of high school, the undergrad that I ended up going to, the University of Montevallo in Alabama, their voice department came over and did a little introduction and recruiting event, and gosh, it was amazing. And the teacher that came, I was so inspired by her, and she talked a lot about vocal technique, and I was just like, I want to learn from her. And so I set up a lesson. I'd never really had a voice lesson like that before. I learned so much about my voice in that hour that we spent together, and I was like, I want her to be my teacher. So as soon as I got my schedule and saw that she was my teacher for my freshman year of undergrad, I was like, I am so excited to start studying and learning. And so she was my teacher for 4 years, Dr. Williams, and it was just amazing. I learned so much, and I learned that I had a lot to learn about my voice, and we still have lessons to this day, and I'm so grateful for it. And we always talk about and reflect on my journey where I was back in 2016, and we always talk about and say it was about getting the instrument to work with freedom and with ease. And so I ended up finding by my senior year, releasing a lot of tension, releasing a lot of physical tension, getting on my breath. We'll learn what that means maybe in another video in the channel. But I ended up finding this natural soloistic sound, and that classical music was where my voice fit best and brought me so much joy and to sing and study. So I got my Bachelor of Arts, BA, in 2020, and I found opera during the pandemic that same year, and switched, just realized that opera is what I was so happy doing and learning how to navigate. And so I went on to study it in a master's degree at Georgia State, and I got my master's degree in 2023 and had the most incredible year, earning my artist diploma in opera performance in 2024. So, and I also did want to mention that I did get the wonderful opportunity to study with some of the best in the industry at a program for young and emerging artists, Bel Canto in Tuscany, and it is in Greve in Chianti, Italy. And it was absolutely amazing experience, and I found just so much joy and connections in that program, and it was amazing to see some of the young folks that came to that program, 17, 18-year-old, junior, senior in high school, were exploring their voices and finding opera for the first time, and it was amazing. And so I just had so much fun at that program with all kinds of singers. There were singers in their mid-30s, and then some in who were just starting out as 17, 18 year olds. So it was amazing. It really was. So I'm now a freelancing professional opera singer in the YAP circuit, YAP, it stands for Young Artist Program. And I'm currently, as of January 2025, in a Young Artist Program with Opera Mississippi. So I'm very excited for that, and I would love to share my journey with that as that progresses. So I did want to talk about my intentions for this channel, so you guys kind of know what this channel is going to be about, or my intentions for it, at least at the moment. I'd love for this to be a fun, informative, non-toxic, educational place to talk about all things singing and singing related content. Why the name? Sometimes I feel like classical singing and opera can seem really intimidating and impossible, maybe to the general public. Some people I know think singing itself is not possible. Like, oh my gosh, like I would never be able to sing. I can't sing. Oh my gosh. Or rather, is only for people born with talent. Maybe you guys know this. Maybe you're singers out there listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I've heard this. And I think these are maybe made worse by the TV talent show. American Idol, America's Got Talent, stuff like that. Cool. Awesome. So I would love for my videos to kind of break down these barriers and be educational and explain and demonstrate things in a concise, simple way. So specifically, I'd love to break down some barriers about classical singing, vocal technique. What is classical technique? I think I have a unique perspective as I've studied both pop and classical singing, and I remember, stepping away from pop music for a while I was developing a classical voice, and then kind of bringing it back in and exploring this idea called cross-training. And so I'd like to talk some about that, because I feel like there is a myth, or a couple myths out there, that one, you can't sing classically if you're gonna want to be a pop singer, because it will turn you into an opera singer. That's something that I've heard. And then the other myth on the other side of it is that pop singing, belting, maybe will ruin your voice, damage your voice, and I haven't found that to be the case. So I'd like to discuss that maybe in another video. What makes the styles different? Is technique the same for both? And I'd like to respectfully challenge things like, if you've heard the saying, sing from your diaphragm, or if you can sing opera, you can sing anything. Should we take that literally? I don't know. However, I do understand what's being said by it. Yeah, so that is what I'd love to do. And yeah, oh, another thing is, what is or should classical training be like today? So yeah, I'd like to discuss stuff like that. Those are kind of nitty-gritty technical videos that some of you singers might be interested in. And then maybe I'll talk about choral singing and soloist singing. I adore classical choral music. I love choral music. Choir is where I started my journey. So I love choir so much, and I'd love to talk about choral singing as well. Okay, technique tips. This is really intimidating for me because there's so many other wonderful teachers out there. But I am excited to add my voice to the mix. No pun intended. If you're a singer, you know what that means. Also, I may do some videos showing how I'm working through some tricky sections of my repertoire for solo arias to document my journey and things I'm learning from my lessons and such. So I study regularly with a wonderful voice teacher who is a coloratura soprano like myself, and it's been a wonderful experience. So I might pop on every once in a while and show you how I'm practicing. So yeah, so I would also love to do some education about opera and some arias that I sing. I might have a series called About the Aria, which will feature just little talks about the arias that I do, some context, and then maybe a performance here and there. Yeah, and also, I did want to mention that I am a big fan of Shakespeare. So I may do a this past April, actually, I put together a recital celebrating Shakespeare, and so I might do an educational video about that recital, and so that will be very fun too, I hope. Finally, because this video is getting long, I'd love to close out with my final intention for this channel, and it is that I'm very open about my disability as a blind singer. And so I'd like to break down some barriers in regards to that. What does it mean to be a blind freelancing performer? I just graduated, so I'm excited to begin this new journey. And I'll also maybe answer some common questions like, how did I get through college as a blind voice student? How do I teach voice as a blind voice teacher? How do I read music? How do I follow a conductor? Oh my gosh, so there are these church jobs that we audition for as classical singers, staff singer positions at churches, and many of them are section leader positions where you lead your section leader for the section of the choir that you're in. How do I work that out? How do I follow a conductor and be a leader? How, for opera, this is specifically for opera, how do I move around on stage? And I should let you guys know that I did participate fully in a stage combat class and in 2023 as a part of my master's degree, and that was incredible. And so I wrote an article called, let's see, what was it called? Stage Combat, How a Blind Soprano did stage combat. Gosh, I'm forgetting the name, but it was something along those lines. How a blind soprano completed a stage combat class, and you know, talking about diversity and inclusion on the stage. So I would love to talk about that article, and then maybe I'll have a guinea pig of someone who can maybe demonstrate some of the concepts that I learned in that class. yeah, so, and then also I did want to say, when I do my vocal technique videos, they will be as descriptive as possible, because I'm a blind singer, and when I listen to my videos back, I want to know what I'm doing. But also for any other blind singers out there, I'd like them to be able to know what I'm doing. So it's my mission to make this channel accessible to all. So yeah, an open educational channel, and I can't wait to get started. So I will also love to take any requests that you have for videos. And I just wanted to call it a day now. Sorry, this video has been so long, but yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. And Happy New Year 2025. At the time of this recording, it's January 2025. I hope you guys have a great new year and a great rest of your day, wherever you are. And yeah, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to get started. So excited. All right, everybody, signing off for now. Enjoy. Stay tuned for the next video.